is going on, guys? It's Cryptic TMG and I'm back with a brand new video, and this time it's the AOR GT3 Elite Season 10 Round 4 from Bugatti circuit. And yeah, looking to bounce back after what was a sort of mixed sort of race in Indianapolis, where obviously I got taken out, but I had good pace throughout the race and probably had race winning pace, but couldn't really pull it into action. So yeah, hoping to bounce back. This is a track that I've liked previously, especially on P-Cars 1. Haven't driven it that much on P-Cars 2, but I do like the track, I do like some of the corners. So yeah, we can get stuck into our best qualifying lap and I'll see you afterwards. So as you can see, a bit of a weird lap. We sort of lost time, then gained time, then lost it, then gained it again. Yeah, I was pretty much disappointed in my lap time. And this race was actually on the day England were playing Croatia, so that's why we've got the short turnout. But anyway, third position on the grid wasn't too bad, although I was about almost 8 tenths slower than what I thought I would be getting. So yeah, at the start of the race here, you can see CJ and Big Prent, they're on the front row. I've got EP Archer next to me. So yeah, managed to get a decent start. We keep behind Big Prent. CJ gets a good jump, and it's all about sort of keeping the tyres up to temperature, because obviously again this race is run sort of towards the night time, the same as Indianapolis, so it was quite cool, and it was really hard to keep your tyres up at a certain temperature. You see Archer actually gets in front of us, but I think he cuts the corner, so he lets off and lets us back through. Already you can see the gap that CJ and Prent have opened out, but I had absolutely just no grip, no confidence in the car at times, and obviously it's something that I've previously struggled with. I previously said it before. Definitely sometimes just seem to really struggle with the grip levels that just seem to be totally different to what I practiced with. So yeah, to be honest, in practice I wasn't that fast. If I'm blatantly honest, I wasn't that fast at all. I was pretty much struggling, but I always say if you're struggling for pace in a race, the best thing you can do is at least make your car easy to drive, and that's exactly what I tried to do. I'm pretty sure I had max rear downforce for this one, and I was going to try and pit early and try and just get out of the sort of dirty air effect that I tend to get when I'm stuck behind people. But you can see CJ and Printer, they're pulling away anyway. But just to do something different, because I knew I didn't have the pace to challenge him, I thought I'm going to pit early. You can see Archer almost dies at the inside, and that sort of just convinces me, like, just get in now and get some free space, see what I can do when I can just sort of focus on myself and not be sort of defending my position and being in dirty air. So that's what my plan was, try and sort of attack them on the blind side where they're not really focused on me. And plus I always feel like it's important not to be in dirty air. I hate the dirty air in this game. I do not like the way it works, and I just like being in free air to do my pace. The sort of slipstream effect and the losing downforce from the car in front, I always feel like it's a little too strong, especially for GT cars. I feel like it's way too strong actually. So yeah, now we've got clear air, and now it's just pretty much just driving by myself. And This time we haven't had any incidents, but you see us, we're catching up to people at the moment, and yeah, this guy just lets us go through. I'm not too sure why, but maybe he had a penalty for going wide on the track, because the penalties at certain points on the track were pretty strict. You couldn't put too much of your car over the white line to give you a penalty. So yeah, I was just trying to make sure I just stay out of trouble, and I thought by pitting so early with no one else in the pits, I thought that I would have a lot of clear space, but I did catch up to people pretty quickly, only lap 5 of the race, and obviously 37 laps. I was expecting maybe around lap 12, 13 that I would start catching people, but obviously they must have made some sort of mistake or had some sort of incident while they're so close to me at the moment. But yeah, just really just trying to push and trying to make sure that I can catch the leaders unawares, even though I knew their pace was a lot better than mine for this race throughout practice, and they were a lot quicker than me for the race. But what tends to happen to me is if I over practice, I tend to go quickly, and then pace just completely falls off. But behind Thomas Ethan, and I knew it'd be quite a tricky guy to pass, because the Porsche just has the straight line legs on the Lamborghini, so it was pretty much all about just trying to line him up, or trying to make him think that I'm going to go for a move, so he can perhaps enter the corner at a different angle that will give me a better run out of the corner. But on the straights, I just had nothing, and that's the main place to overtake on this track. Obviously, is down the straight, but the way our turn 1 is, it sort of curves off to the right and then turns left, so it's quite hard to get down the inside of people, because the car can become unsettled under heavy braking. So it was pretty tricky, and it's really hard to stay close to a Porsche out of a corner like this one, tight corner. The Porsche is so good on traction, and yeah, as I said, when I'm driving behind cars, for some reason, for whatever reason on this game, it just feels atrocious to me. And you see I run wide there into the gravel, and I think I'm going to pick up a penalty. Nope, it disappears. But I'm sure at some stage I do pick up some sort of penalty. And the problem is, sometimes you might not even be all the way off the track, but you'll still get the penalty anyway. I think when I go off the track and I gain a lot of time, or I consider something as a cut where I've blatantly gained time, then normally I would just back off. But when it's something where I know the whole of my car's not even over the white line, and it's just 2 wheels, then I just don't see the point in slowing down. The way how the penalty system works, it's sort of you're better off just taking the 1 or 2 second penalty, because if you slow down, you're probably going to lose about 4 or 5 seconds at times. You can see the car wanted to spin out on the entrance to that corner there, just having to slightly catch it. And yeah, it's just something I find it really hard to follow cars in this game. There's only a few cars that I've used that are really nice when right behind someone. So yeah, sort of a weird one. Obviously we're still trying to fight our way back through the pack, but honestly, it was so hard to get past some of these guys. You get up to the back of them, and the car was just sliding everywhere, and I just felt like I couldn't get my foot down quick enough. Could not get my foot down quick enough. And I'm thinking, wow, I'm only on lap 8. I'm stuck behind someone, and generally, I could not get close enough to him. Even though I was faster, I could not get close enough to him to do anything. It was way too fast out of the last corner, fast down the straight, and through every corner that I was quicker, the car was just stepping out on me. So I was, instead of focusing on trying to attack, I was focusing on trying to catch the car, which was just annoying. But it's just one of them things, man. One of them things that I just wish didn't exist in this game as much as it does. Obviously, we know dirty air is a thing, but I'm just not sure. I'm not too sure about how strong the dirty air affects your car, especially in GT cars. It's not as if it's F1. So yeah, pretty weird. But obviously, we're just trying to push on. We know at this time that we're looking at the delta, and we're just losing time to the leaders. We know we're losing time. So yeah, from trying to sort of do a different strategy that would, I was hoping the 2 guys up front would just be battling, going wheel to wheel, slowing each other down, and I can sort of creep up on the blind side, because obviously I never had the pace to begin with to challenge them. So I was just hoping for something like that. But as I'm getting stuck behind people, obviously at this point in the race, I didn't think I would be behind anybody because I wasn't expecting anybody else to pit, or people who have had any sort of incidents where I would be sort of having to race anybody. But yeah, it was pretty much a nightmare scenario. Just couldn't get close. You can see here again, just look at the acceleration, and I know he's got the straight line advantage, so unless I get right underneath his rear wing, there's not really much I can do. You can just see him down the straight. He's absolutely flying, and in my head I'm thinking, wow, I'm literally gonna have to wait till this man pits, because it's proving a struggle. And you can see when I'm going into corners and the back end just literally just wants to spin, like trying so hard. And I'm thinking, listen, in practice I knew I wasn't that quick, so I did everything to make this car stable, and I get into the race and it's not stable. And sometimes it's just the effect of being behind someone, but sometimes it's just the fact the car just was terrible. But we managed to get really close this time, and this is as close as I've been, and still you can look at the way it just pulls away. And I think it just goes a little bit too deep here, and I managed to, this was my chance to sort of get through, and I thought, wow, he went wide, but he might end up getting a good run, but I think he backs out of it just a little bit, and yeah, that was us moving up the grid. And obviously there wasn't that many people racing, because I said this race took place on the same day England played Croatia in the World Cup, and I could understand why people miss the race, obviously, especially if you're English or Croatian. But yeah, up a few positions. I knew this is a chance. Wherever you finish, you're going to score decent points in this race, because obviously there was only about 10 people racing. So yeah, moving forward now, and this was me just sort of concentrating on my own pace, and you can see we just get a penalty there. And I think that Jamai 21 just had a incident in front of us, and now we've caught up to the back of him, so we haven't had that many laps of freedom before we're behind somebody else. And for whatever reason, behind the Audi, it was just, I remember this as clear as day, the grip levels just completely just died on me. I got behind the Audi and it was just like it was crazy. It was worse than the Porsche. The Porsche was bad, but you'll see me soon. As I follow Jamai 21, I'm literally catching the car every single lap, and it's just so weird to me. So weird. Under brakes it was unsettled. Midway through the corners it was really oversteering. It was just so weird. Don't know why that is. Don't know why. And I think I was running, I'm pretty sure I was running very close, if not max downforce on the rear. So I just could not understand why the car just felt extremely oversteering. But even now I was struggling to catch Jamai 21, and I knew actually the Audi for this track was probably the car you'd want to be in. Definitely I think the Audi for this track combination, definitely you want it to be an Audi. The Audi is very fast around tracks with like sort of low to mid speed corners. The Audi just flies through them. So yeah, it was definitely hard just to try and keep up or try and take better lines, because I knew he could just go around the corners faster basically. So yeah, it was a hard race, and as I said, just you see it there, I'm just sliding trying to get in behind this guy. It just wasn't happening. And for me it just felt even worse than the Porsche, because I actually felt like I'm about to bin it. Anytime now I'm gonna bin it. But still we were up in 5th position, and I wasn't too sure what had happened to Archil, because he was right behind me when I pitted, so something must have happened to him. And you see CJ's now going into the pits, and I think Parenta follows him into the pits. So yeah, they pitted a lot earlier than I thought they would. I thought they'd sort of stretch it out towards the end, and I was going to see how sort of close I was, because obviously I was only maybe 1 or 2 seconds behind him when I first pitted, so I want to see how much time I'd lost, and if it was even any remote chance of even challenging them. And you can see they've already left the pit lane, so I've lost a massive amount of time, stuck behind people, and just generally just lacking in pace. So yeah, I knew at this point I was pretty much just racing for third. And you can see now, lap 15, I'm still stuck behind Jam 21, and I'll go off into the gravel again. And yeah, I just literally just could not hold on to the back of him at all. It was just, I needed like complete free air just to be able to feel like my car was normal. But whenever I got anywhere near his car, it just died, absolutely died. You can see the car's just, it's all over the place, and it's crazy because obviously I just did not experience the handling that I was having now in the whole entire time we practiced. So it was very, very weird. You can see we get another penalty, and yeah, as I was saying, it was just going from bad to worse. And you can see the car just snapping everywhere. So I really can't understand it. I'm looking at the tyres and I'm thinking, okay, the tyres are not terrible. You can see we put the ABS up to high because that's how nervous the car is making us at the moment. Super nervous. And I'm the kind of person, I cannot drive when I haven't got the confidence in the car. I'm not someone who can easily just completely just drive around it and just throw the car anywhere. I need to feel the car that I built, if you know what I mean. I'm one of them. So yeah, it was very strange. You can see it just falling away, pace dropping off. We're now 22 seconds behind the leaders, 21 laps into the race, and I was only about a second and a half, 2 seconds maybe behind them when I first pitted. So you see how drastically the pace has dropped off, and you see even now, Jam 21 is just pulling away. I couldn't do nothing about it. The only saving grace for me is I had already made my pit stop, so I knew eventually he'd have to come in. And it's weird because at times I could catch him, and at other times the car would just be a death trap. And the main culprit, the main corner, was the S's section that we will be coming up to very soon after this double right-hander. You can see his car sort of slides through the corner. The next corner here, the car was absolutely terrible, and I was so nervous going into this corner because it felt like this is, if I'm going to crash anywhere, it's going to be here. And you can see me brake early, just making sure that we don't plow into the back of him, but through this corner the car just didn't. I either had to take it super slow or I would have to just risk it every time I went in there. And yeah, it's just not a nice feeling to try in a corner like that when your car just doesn't seem to be working, and for whatever reason the car just wasn't working. I think Jam runs a little bit wide there, and I think he might slow down for a pen, I'm not too sure. But yeah, lap 24, and you see they're still stuck behind like 12 laps, is it, when I first got behind Jam, and all now just not even an opportunity. And you can see we brake for that corner and the back end completely goes, and I think he does slow down for that penny. I think he might have got it at the last corner, and yeah, that's us up into third position. Obviously we have a 5-second penalty at the moment, but all the cars behind us also have a penalty, so I'm sure I'll be okay on that front. Plus obviously Jam hadn't stopped at the time, and I had a pretty big gap behind him to Marty. So yeah, the third place was pretty much all I could really hope for after how the first 24 laps have gone. And yeah, you can see it's something, I don't know, it was just so weird. And I remember after getting in front of Jam, I'm thinking finally I got some clear air, and to be honest with you, the car didn't change, it just stayed a death trap for the rest of the race pretty much. And yeah, you can see I'm going in there so cautiously. I left it in third gear to dumb down the revs so the car wouldn't be as snappy, and still the car it was just so weird. And honestly, my lap times, this is the first time I can say my lap times completely plummeted. I was driving sort of maybe even 2-3 seconds a lap off the pace. That's how bad it got. I can be pretty bad when I want to be, but I'm never normally that far off the pace. You can see lap 36, I'm a massive, it's at 51 seconds behind the leaders, and this, I haven't had any spins, any crashes. That was just pretty much it. And going into the last lap of the race, I didn't really have anything to say really. The car was just, it was horrible. You can see how slowly I'm approaching these corners. It literally feels like I'm tiptoeing around the track because I'm too scared that I'm going to end up binning it or finding a wall or something like that. Big Prentice leading this race at the moment, but he's got a 2-second penalty and CJ's 9/10 behind him. So if CJ can just stay right behind him, then obviously that's another win for CJ. That'll be his 4th out of 4 this season. And CJ does manage to stay right behind him, and he wins the race by 9/10 as Big Prentice had a 2-second penalty. So yeah, you can see that they finished the race while we're still in the first sector. So obviously there's a massive gap between us, and yeah, I think I was probably even getting caught from behind at this point. I was just, the car was all off. You can see me, look at my fastest lap was only a 36.0, which wasn't even great, and we're like sort of 1.7 seconds down on that. And I was thinking, wow, what happens to a car in a race that just changes that dramatically? It's not like my tires are badly worn or anything like that. And you know, in practice we're running sort of a 35.2. what I got in quali was sort of what we were running, or what I was running in for a practice lap. So it was kind of weird. But we come across the line, we take the podium, which wasn't really a great podium because obviously there was only really 10 people racing and only 8 people finished the race. So wasn't a great podium, but listen man, I'll take it. I'll definitely take it, man. It wasn't the best race. It wasn't even worth the highlights, to be honest with you, but you know, I thought I'd just give you my account, a little recap of what actually happened for the race. Yeah, pretty damn terrible, but the next race should be a good one. That one's at Donington Park, so I'll see you guys for that one. It's Cryptic TMG. Don't forget to like and subscribe, click the notification bell to catch my videos first, and peace!